First of all, Mr. Prabhat Pandey. A very warm welcome, sir. Huge round of applause, please. Mr. Vishwanath Kumar Jha. Mr. Anurag Jain. Mr. Ishan Girdhar. Mr. Abhisek Sarangi. And Mr. Prabhjot Singh. So we'll have a discussion about how retail and FMCG sector is shaping the future of consumer-centric innovation. Mr. Vishwanath Kumar Jha would be moderating the session for us. Now I would request the moderator to take forward. Thank you. Yes.
So let's start the session. So we want to understand from Mr. Ishan Girdhar what is the global proactive that you would about the shaping the future or consumer-centric innovation.
Yeah. So can you please repeat the question once again, please?
What is the global proactive that you would
Which question?
how is the future of retail in the e-commerce that traditional retail business? What is the global proactive that you would develop the shaping the future of consumer-centric innovation?
Okay. So, globally things are changing rapidly. And with COVID being into it, things are drastically changed. So it's like changing, I would say, every year you're finding something new coming up. And plus, it's not just global. India again is a global market. So in India, things are also changing a lot. So what I want to say is that India itself is a big market. So any company who is dealing globally, it has to see India as a separate market and overseas as a separate market. Now, earlier what was happening was we were seeing altogether a single market, and whatever was working in India, it has to work overseas also. But now things are not like that. In India, what's happening is happening in India, because India, as I said, itself is a big market. When it comes to globally, so globally things have changed, and each country has their own requirements, has their own expectations, consumer demands, product needs, and everything. So, in a summarized form, I would say, you pick up any geography. Each geography is different from each other. So let's take something, if you are supplying, let's say, okay, talk about North America market. So American market has different expectations, different needs of our consumers. When we go towards western side, let's say we move towards the oceanic part, then Australia, New Zealand is a different set of a market. Then if you move further towards South Asian part, itself is a different market, in where we're covering the Indonesia, Philippines, within that itself. China is a separate market. And China is a growing market, I would say. As on date, if I talk about, a lot of companies are now eyeing on China, because it is an open market. There's a thought process. Chinese doesn't accept Indian products. They do like Indian products. They do like to have Indian, I would say, food products to taste. So it's again a big market. Moving further towards the Asian part, it's again it's majorly dominated by India. Let's take Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. They are somewhat related to India because it's cross-border. So gets things changed very quickly. But when it comes to Middle East is now, I would say, itself is a big chunk. It has been a big chunk always. So even in that, there are certain pockets. Let's take Dubai. Dubai is a showcase market. So whichever brand or whichever company wants to launch something in overseas, they see themselves launching in certain pockets. So if we talk about Middle East, they will try to launch themselves in Dubai. That's a showcase market because every people is eyeing on Dubai. Dubai is like most of the tourist place. And majorly people are traveling to Dubai a lot. So they see what's coming up in the market, what's being on the shelves and everything. So they like to adapt it. If something is workable in Dubai, for sure it's workable in GCC entirely. Same goes with Singapore. Singapore again is a showcase market for the South Asian part. So it's a doorways towards the oceanic part. So if we talk about innovation, so innovations and adaptation is happening overseas. Indian companies have now understood that thing. So now in India, if any brand wants to grow, so they are seeing themselves that they want to grow globally, not to any particular pocket. So if they want to, let's say, they're focusing themselves. Any brand is not successful everywhere. That's hard fact truth. People, I think most of the companies have now learned it. You can't say that my brand will work out every part of the world. It's not going to happen in this way. Yes, it will happen. Like there's always like everything is possible in this world. It will happen, but you have to have a time. You have to understand the market. Taken for example, let's take any, I think in the earlier discussion we were referring to Haldiram. Haldiram has not become a brand out of a sudden. They have developed themselves in a market, they have developed the brand in themselves, they have corrugated themselves in the pockets of those markets where they have gained the acceptance. Yes, the first foremost, any brand which has to go overseas is they have to focus towards the Indian diaspora. Because that's what you get the, the first recognition of the brand. Because people are traveling from India, they know each other. But that's just your entry. You can't just rely on that. So most of the people do rely on that and then they end it over there. But you have to go beyond that. Beyond that means you need to innovate. You need to adapt. You need to build up some products based on market needs. So accordingly, you will be able to grab the business over there. That's why you can see, if you you just browse it to any website on that, now you will see certain brands are available across the globe. Even for us also, like if you talk about personally for Veeba, when we started exports, we were new to the market, we were not aware of it, but people were aware of Veeba. They have been buying Veeba, they have been taking Veeba from India in their luggages to across the globe. But yes, we were not available. But people were wanting us over there. So then that gave us a boost. Let's get into that market. But when we entered into the market, we understood, oh, it's a big market. Yes, it's a product-driven company, but yet we had our own challenges. We have to develop the products accordingly. We have to, corrugate the packs accordingly. And then also, I would say, still we are struggling ourselves. We are building ourselves. So that's one of an example I can quote because that's personally we have been doing it from last 2.5 years and so far so good, things have been worked out. But in a nutshell, any brand, has to look the market accordingly. They have to adapt, they have to innovate as per the market. Single things won't work now everywhere, things have changed. So that's what my summation would be to this particular question. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, sir, I would also like to know from Veeba's perspective only that what has been the role of social commerce, influencer marketing, especially when it comes to brands like Veeba or VRB Foods. So how does influencer marketing, social media marketing, what are the various facets of that? If you could throw some light on it.
I would say they are changing the market in a very easy and a simple way. Just few pointers in that. First is nowadays social commerce and this influencers are building trust. Usually they have been just primitive advertisements where people could not relate themselves. But now with this influencers come into being, they are able to relate themselves. They could see the real face. That's one thing. Moreover, what they have done is that they have made you shown the products they can use in their own daily life. Ads were like to specific certain aspects. But now there are a lot of influencers. They're showing you products in your daily needs. How can you use it in a multiple way? So that's making you relate themselves. Okay, fine. You can use in this way also. You can use in that way also. And the plus point is that with this social e-commerce, it's quite easy and fast. That's what innovation is all about. So you're able to buy that thing. You are easily able to get it back. You can refunds. It's quite easy. Your money is safe. You get an experience. Oh, coming to experience. Now the trend sets are also happening. So influencers do set the trends. Earlier, it was not possible. You would see just what a TV ad is showing you and that's it. But now, trend setters is happening with these influencers. They're showing, okay, fine, they're setting up a trends. So in that way, you are able to, convince in terms of following that, adapting that in your own life. And finally, it's quite interactive. So Facebook and everybody, you can just interact, give your comments and something like that. So altogether, with a nutshell is like, with all these things, the brand has given, it has been approached to the consumers in a very human form. So a human touch being attached to it. And plus, it's like, you're feeling that it's something real, it's happening and something truth. So trust is there, human touch is there, and it's quite easy. So that's what has been helping the, this new sector of market, I would say.
Absolutely, we have a lot of micro-influencers sitting in this hall also. A lot of students who have been doing that, so they were really interested in this particular question. So along with influencing, sustainability is also very important at the same time. We went to the recent Ahar Food Expo that had happened in Bharat Mandapam, and we got to meet Mr. Anurag Jain and his team. Their brand is working big time on sustainability, starting from the production up till the final product. So with this, I would like to ask this question to Mr. Anurag, that with consumers increasingly prioritizing sustainability, how FMCG sector is adapting specifically in development, packaging and supply chain strategies?
Thank you very much for having me on the dais here, and good afternoon to all the students and the panelists here. See, sustainability at Falcon Agrifriz has been a core. The group is very big. Group is into the business since past 40 years, but they were into a seafood and other businesses. They have always worked for the farmers, because the farmers are not there, the next raw material will not come. So it starts from there. It's more than a trend, it's a necessity. And nowadays also sustainability is not just a trend, it's not a buzzword, but it has become a necessity. It's not a luxury anymore, it's a necessity, because if you are not working towards sustainability, tomorrow you will not exist. Or maybe somebody in your entire ecosystem will go off. Then how will you fulfill? There will the person, now China plus one people are talking about, because in the entire ecosystem of the world trade, China was playing an important role. But when China was started falling out due to COVID, people were asking what is the alternative? That's the one sustainability. Now people have started developing, India or Thailand, and then we had it. So here also in Falcon Agrifriz, which is a complete new division of the Falcon group, and in the vegetarian food now, and potato processing is the main core for us. Now for that, raw material is coming from the potatoes. Now those potatoes are very special potatoes, which takes almost 4 years to come to the crop level. So whatever you are seeing now, which we just launched 1.5 to 2 months back, and Ahar and launch was almost together when you found us, those planning has been done in 2020, 21. That's why we are able to give you now. Whatever potatoes you have at home is 9% solid, what we have is 34% solid. That's why you can't have the same French fries, or some people call in a rural market, the finger chips, same kind of potato when you have any QSR or any McD's or Burger King, right? Now, from farmer, before farmer, we are also having a sustainability of the seed. So our sustainability is starting N-1, much before the crop comes, seed to crop, plant, to the supply chain, to the mother depots, to the warehouses, to the customers, to the QSR, to the final plates which comes to you, right? So there are 17 times this changes hands, and all 17 touch points, handing over, taking over, requires a sustainability. And not a single point we can miss the ecosystem over there. So right from, we made the plant which is the most green or sustainable plant in the entire Indian subcontinent, because, and we put extra few $1 million for that. would have done without that also, but we have not compromised on that because we know that here we need to take the India flag up. India was a net importer of fries 8 years back. Today we are exporting 5 times of Indian domestic demand to the world. India is becoming a next Belgium. This is what the people are saying outside. Only thing is that if we are not sustainable, we will not sustain it further. People are saying whether your fries, the quality, innovation comes into sustainability. Because now what's saying, are your fries comparable with China? We say no. Are it comparable Egypt? No. It is comparable Belgium? Yes. This is how the sustainability program will come. Because it's not sustainability is not related only to a green environment concerns. The community of whatever is like farmers community, then comes the vendors community, then comes the trade channel community, and then the customers community. Entire chain has to be taken care of. That's one. Second thing on the sustainability, if you look at the plant, worker safety, if 28.5 degrees, so our plant is based out of Ahmedabad, near Ahmedabad, a place called Kadi. The moment it crosses 28.5 degree, plant will automatically get shut off, 100% automated plant. It will not go further. There must be production order, sales order, doesn't matter at all. It will not go further. Sustainability, because workers are working there. This goes 45 degree also in Ahmedabad. They might take off their hat cap, we don't know, because that kind of strictness all the time monitoring is not possible. So we make that everybody is so comfortable working in the entire plant. That is one. Rainwater harvesting, we have 400% more recharge wells than anybody else has having there. We have HYSA system where 35% of the steam which is going out in the air, steam doesn't pollute the environment, but still we are recovering the energy from that. So that much of the carbon credits we are getting. So we are cutting down on the fossil fuels that much. All our vendors are nearby. So we are cutting down the transportation fuel and then also supplying to the, in such a hub and spoke model that it reaches to them. So entire sustainability comes there. All packaging material comes in the 70% recyclable. We are going towards 100% now. So this is how the things are happening. And then that logo and everything, what I think we mentioned in Ahar also made responsibly. Anybody can make anything. Food industry, anybody can make it home also. But how do you make it and how do you present it made responsibly? And people are there to pay for it. Morning I was coming from airport to here. I was seeing rather than Uber and Ola, Blue Smart counter were having a huge crowd. People are paying premium for that. For sustainability, for the environment thing. This is how the trend is going. And what we are doing in sustainability, if you are having a fries on your plate, you can trace it back to which plant it has come from, which farm it has come from, and for that farm has got the seed from which area. So we call it, who grows your fries, just trace it. You can meet the farmer who is growing the fries for you. Those kind of traceability system will come from the sustainability and we'll continue to have it. That's all. Thank you.
Absolutely amazing to have your inputs on it. And the way you said extra few millions,
Right.
it sounded very simple, but we believe it's not.
Right.
So we talked about, especially you talked about staying relevant and maintaining trust. So you are technically maintaining trust, getting the consumer trust and then maintaining it. So with this, I would like to move to Mr. Sarangi from Spark Minda. Sir, I wanted to ask you that what are the biggest challenges in maintaining consumer trust in this era where information overload is really high? So how companies like yours, or if we talk about FMCG per se, how do they maintain trust?
Great, thank you. So maybe I'll answer it more from automotive retail perspective. So I come from a space which is auto component, which is a niche space within automotive. Now organizations like these, normally now we are dependent on a lot of data which is coming in. We have, since last 4-5 years, if I say pre-COVID era, then a lot of manual working, lot of dependencies on Excel's, manual systems were there. Now post-COVID, we have evolved a lot of digitization. Remember 2018s and 19s, where every meeting has to be face-to-face. That demand came from your management, from your senior team members. Now it has evolved into the digital platform of Teams and the Zoom and all the platforms which are out there. So in this space, we have evolved into acceptability of the digital platforms. And what has happened is we have a lot of information, lot of data which is there. Data collation has become easier. We are now using AI more for data interpretation and analysis. So a lot of these information are available with us. Now what to do with these information? That is the major question. So when we have our conversations with our business heads, our zonal heads, our area managers, then we discuss about this, that we have all of these data. But what is the end result? The end result is to improve the experience of the customers. Now ultimately, if all of these data are available, what we are trying to do is improving the speed of response, improving the quality, improving the speed of innovation. Now all of these data are available to just to do this. Now having said this, let me state an instance that few years back we were having a conversation with our CEO of our aftermarket division, and suddenly that conversation started that our headquarters is in North. So we have a lot of new policies, new innovations which are happening in our North division. And that must be a very clear-cut example that North should have the best sales amongst all divisions. While when we observed in next few quarters, West was doing much better than North. North was having 15% sales growth quarter on quarter, while West was having 25% growth. While our national sales head is sitting in North, our entire innovations which are being implemented, the pilot was happening in North. Having said all of that, still West is doing better. How? So our CEO said that to the HR head and the national sales head, just find it out why this is happening, why this discrepancy is there. Then when they went to West and they saw the digital adoption in comparison to North is still lower. The overall policy implementation is still lower. The employee engagement even is lower than North. But still they're having higher sales growth. Then they went to our business partners. We tell our retailers and distributors as business partners. When we went to the business partners, the only difference which we found in comparison to North is North has a very systematic review system. They visited the business partners only when their time is there. Weekly meeting for area sales manager, monthly for a regional manager, and maybe once a quarter or twice in a year for the national sales head. In West, they visited every week. The area sales manager and the regional managers ensured whenever they are in need, then they are there for them. So only thing in this age of information overload, what we are missing now or we are actually degrading is the personal touch. Now in this entire era, we are definitely improving our efficiency, but if we are not maintaining our personal touch, it will ultimately result not in a sustainable growth, but it will always be a short-term goal which we'll achieve. So this is my perspective to the question.
Absolutely well said, sir. And if we talk about personalization, even the whole e-commerce industry is now really based upon it. You search for one thing and you have personalized suggestion within seconds. So with this, further taking this session, I would like to request Mr. Prabhjot to answer that how do you see the future of retail evolving in this particular era where e-commerce is dominating big time? So now Jivo being one of the brand which is there in retail, and if you would have read about this brand, the oils that you have been using at your home are technically coming from Jivo. So in this particular case, sir, how exactly do you think that retail is going to work in this dominating arena of e-commerce?
Hello. Good afternoon all. Good afternoon all. Thank you for having me on this panel. So yes, as you said that how I see the future of retail evolving in this era where the e-commerce is dominating. First of all, I am not currently very sure, I am a bit skeptical that e-commerce is totally dominating the market. Despite recent 3 waves which we have seen, one was the cheap availability of data provided by Jivo in 2016, which acted as a huge catalyst for e-commerce. And after that, the second wave was after demonetization, the consumer was kind of forced to shift to digital payments. It was also a great catalyst for e-commerce. And after that, the COVID wave. After Corona, we have seen that the customer was faced to order everything from online channels. But despite these three waves, India's e-commerce retail segment has yet to take more than 10% share of total retail segment. So, but recently in the past 15 to 20 years, we have also seen that the retail market of India is very agile in transforming itself. So first there were small kiranas. So everyone used to buy from their local kirana stores and their local stores. But after that, in the decade of 2000s, before 2010, then came the big bazaar wave. So the customer behavior shifted to that. They offered a lot of price discounts and a lot of variety, which was new for our country. And then we saw the wave of the D-Mart by Mr. Radhakrishnan Damani, and D-Mart took a large share of India's retail segment. Then after that, we saw the wave of e-commerce, and recently our consumer has got hooked to the 10 to 15 minute delivery, that is by quick commerce. So it is certainly challenging for traditional retail, but given that the most of the population still goes to their local vendor, so I am not totally pessimistic about our legacy retail, but saying that we see different behavior in tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3 and tier 4 city customers. For example, I would like to tell you that from our own experience as well, tier 1 and tier 2 customers have mostly shifted to quick commerce because that is convenient, that gets you hooked. But the problem is different for tier 3 and tier 4 city customers. Because of their occupational hazard, most of the tier 3 and tier 4 populace is still agrarian based. So they derive their income when they harvest their product, after the harvesting season. So for them, the credit is a significant thing. They depend on credit with their local kirana vendors. So e-commerce and modern trade do not provide that. But at the same time, they will also have to adapt according to the current economic situations. So that's my point.
Absolutely well said. So sir has given us specific waves that have come across. And the pleasure of going to a store and picking a product for yourself is, I believe, something that we all relish till date. With this, I would also like to take the view of Mr. Vishwanath, and he is from Patanjali, and when we talk about Patanjali, we have so many products that are exactly what we call as reliable in nature. Our mothers have been using it big time, promoting it. So sir, what is your view about retail and e-commerce? Do you find it, the retail being in conflict with e-commerce, or do you think that they go hand in hand as Mr. Prabhjot thinks? So what is your input about it?
So basically, I'm coming from a general trade background. So despite of e-commerce, still there is a lot of scope in retail market. I just want to give an example for Delhi. Delhi having population of 4 crore. Based on that, the outlet universe would be somewhere 1 lakh. Is still the big organization have no direct coverage more than 35,000 and 40,000 in Delhi, if I talk about. So in that case, still there is a huge opportunity for GT market. So we should more focus on direct coverage. So this is all about.
Thank you so much. And like Mr. Anurag was just talking that how people are actually preferring sustainability over so many other things, I would like to have the view of the delegate from Varun Beverages, Mr. Prabhat. Sir, I want to ask you that with consumers increasingly prioritizing sustainability, how FMCG company like yours is adapting, specifically when it comes to product development packaging? So if you can throw some light on how Varun Beverages has been doing that, that will be great.
Thank you very much. So in fact, 3 years back, 3 or 3.5 years back, we started focusing on ESG, environment, social and governance, that ESG, and it was in a big way. We have all top people were members of that ESG committee. A senior person was appointed heading ESG. In that, all those aspects were evaluated, what kind of things we should do. So like packaging, we have in the PET bottles, we are using our maximum products are, maximum utilization is of PET bottles. We have reduced that thickness of that PET bottles, number one. Number two, our PET, recently we have joint ventureship with the Indorama, and we have put up 2 plants. One is Odisha and other one is in Jammu Kashmir, Jammu. So these 2 plants, they will supply that recycled bottles. So we are going to use that recycled bottle in a big way to reduce the carbon footprint. That is one. Secondly, recently we have started, last year in fact, we started almost 2,000 electric vehicles for transportation of our products, and it was very successful. And cost-wise also it is very cost-conducive and very successful experiment. So we will further escalate it to all the across country. Third is in the plants also, like several other things like safety we're talking about. So safety, employee safety, we are taking care of those things. Then in the that green energy, like the solar power, now almost all plants have got solar power. So almost 25% of our total power consumptions we are producing through solar energies. So those kind of things have been started in a big way, and I am sure that a time will come when everything will be based on that sustainability, because consumers are also like sugar, less sugar, sugar-free products we have started producing that also. So that way we are coming in a big way. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. So we've got to know about sustainability in our own country with the context of Varun Beverages. Now again, touching down on an international perspective, I would like to know from Mr. Ishan that per se, Veeba, VRB Foods, now how can FMCG companies adapt to their product development and supply chain strategies when we are talking about meeting the demands of international markets, sir?
I'll go back to Shishir sir when he said what, how, when. Like, I think that's what need to be applied. So if you need to, in terms of product development, first of all, you need to understand the market. As I said, coming back to my own first answer, anything which is in India, don't take it to say that it's going to workable overseas. It has to be as per the market. So it can be packaging, it can be the product. So it depends what plays in that market. So that's what we need to find. So there comes, the point that's a circle market research. So people do that, companies do that. Then comes the development part. So, you have to develop the market. Okay, developing a market also means you are reformulating the product, or you are giving a new product packaging. There, an important place comes into being is try to understand. Anything going from India, it takes time. It has to go through containers and everything, so the lead time is like pretty more as compared to what's been supplied in India. Any factory which is supplying in India, it might take a day or 2 or 3 days or 4 days to make a supply. So here the shelf life, whenever we get, just take a note, whenever we get a product, so there is a manufacturing and a best before. It's usually 7 to 8 months or 10 months or 12 months. But when we go to overseas market, minimum 12 months is needed. So not just writing 12 months works, the product has to sustain in that way. So it has to be formulated in that way, it has that shelf life. So there are challenges in that way also. Even, when we come to the business point of view, the shelf lives over there, okay, the shelves over there, the retailers, they don't want to keep the product which is less than 7 to 8 months shelf life. Because there also the customers are very much educated. They don't want to consume an expired product or near to the expiry product. So there comes the product formulation. So the product you are developing is as per the needs of the global market. This is a standard. It's not specific to any market. This is pretty standard. And finally, sending the product. So sending a product is again the most trickiest part. So since it's a shelf life based products, when it comes to food, particularly if I talk about food, food is a shelf life based product. So it has to reach well on time. If it's not reaching well on time, nothing works. If it's being stuck up anywhere, then you're gone. So your entire activity has gone to zero. So it has to reach well on time to the distributors and to the retailers over there, so that it's on the shelf and the consumers are able to consume it well on time. So in that way, these all factors play an important part when we talk about any brand going or any product going to overseas market. Even in overseas market, nowadays, since e-com is there, these quick services are there, but still people rely on going to the stores and buying it over there because it's an expensive affair. There, each dollar is important for everybody. So they would like to go to the stores and buy it physically. It's a buying trend is pretty different as compared to India. India is evolving much faster as compared to overseas market. So it's quite challenging in India. Overseas scenarios are pretty same all across the globe. That's what my submission would be.
So Mr. Ishan has given us a review and mitigated one challenge that retail would definitely work well because quick commerce per se is very expensive for Indian consumers as well. With this, I would also like to know Mr. Prabhjot's view on still what he feels as key challenges traditional retail businesses face and some specific strategies that, sir, you are as a brand taking care of to remain competitive in the current paradigm.
Thank you for asking me this question. So the key challenges I think traditional retail businesses face are, first of all, I think the total addressable market for traditional retail is significantly lower than that of e-commerce. So they can simultaneously serve over 15,000 pin codes all across the country, while the number of people a traditional retail business can serve is about, I think, 1,000 to 2,000. So also other challenges I think are the economies of scale these modern day businesses, e-commerce, quick commerce, they get. Because of their venture backed funding and the economies of scale, the scale at which they operate, the traditional legacy retail is at quite a disadvantage due to this. So the other challenge I think is that the challenge of convenience. The amount of convenience offered by quick commerce and e-commerce, the delivery in 10 to 15 minutes, it is quite convenient for the customers. So they would not like to again go down and buy their grocery or anything for their needs. So, but there are also some advantages for traditional retail. Like for example, they offer the touch and feel experience which the e-commerce and quick commerce do not offer. So Indian consumer is quite different from the international consumer, I would say. So because of their traditional roots, they still like the touch and feel experience. So they are not as elastic to change their behavior. So the other thing I could say is, we are still yet to see that if these venture-backed quick commerce companies would really thrive, or would they just sustain in tier 1 and tier 2 cities. What happens when their funding ends up? And the other thing is that what we do. So we as a business at Jivo Wellness, we offer specialized packaging for traditional and legacy businesses like the 1 kg or 2 kg. These kind of small packs are more relevant in traditional businesses. But the e-commerce, the customer prefers to buy at bulk. So yeah, that would be my submission. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So definitely Indian market is very different from the international market and the international paradigm. India is one country where storytelling is also very, very famous among one country. Of course, among many countries. So with this, I would like to pose a question to Mr. Anurag Jain. Sir, how can brands use storytelling and purpose-driven marketing to create stronger consumer connections?
Yeah, it's very relevant today because as my friend said that every market is a different one. First of all, this challenge has been faced by our company itself when I joined last year. We are in the verge of starting it. The brand name has to be in such that in every country it has to be perceived and seen in the same manner. Very difficult task because the same word meaning is different. You know the story of SAP, German, right? So what happens? We actually invested a lot, and researched a lot in every market because our target was to go there in 40 countries. Now, when we came up with the name Just Crave, we actually checked in every market what this word, first of all, word mean to them. Secondly, it should be registrable. It should be available TM in those countries as well. First of all, it should be available in India, and then you can go outside. And then how will you tell the story? Because every time the meaning of the crave is what? So then we go scientifically. There are two types of craving, hedonistic and homonistic. Your stomach is full, still you want to buy or you want to eat something. That is hedonistic. And homonistic, no, you are actually empty on your stomach. That's why you want to eat. That's where the craving is coming. So crave is also two types. For each and these two types of craving, we created a crave buddy to tell the story. I can't go to every market. I don't have that big team with me to do that. So we have a crave buddy. For small hunger, there's a crave buddy, different crave buddy. And you want to have a mealful plan because we have Indian flatbreads. We call it a parathas and a puran poli. There is different crave buddy. So crave buddy goes, there is a small hunger. You can just have a 2 French fries and go away. For medium, you have a 1 patty or you have a chili garlic poppers and then you can satisfy your craving. But if you want to have a real, you are suffering from hunger, because hunger monster, then you have a bigger one, which is a meal full plate, 2 parathas and you are done. So that's how the storytelling does. And purpose-driven marketing, because without purpose, we will not be able to achieve. What is my achievement? I told you sustainability, it depends. 54% of the vegetables, so potato also comes under vegetable, are wasted in India every year. From frozen and whatever we are putting into the plate, how much we can save on that, that's coming to that. And then with this frozen, how this crave buddy and entire thing, because nobody, even at the QSR, the restaurant, because we are a B2B right now, how they can save, because you don't forecast, today 10 customers are going to come or 100 customers are going to come. You take it out from the freezer, just fry it, give it and treat it, cook it, ready to, it's not RTE, it's RTC, ready to cook. You cook it and serve it. So you are saving on those kind of wastage which are happening on each and every outlets of restaurants. And restaurants we should not undermine. FMCG outlets in India are hardly 1.4 CR, 140 million. But restaurants are 20 lakhs more than that. You go to NREI data. And people are not doing that kind of sustainability that every restaurant is wasting how much food every time. They are opening every day, they are wasting it. Now frozen and the kind of packaged food which has come in, like Veeba have come and some other companies have started coming in, people are saving a huge on that. They are saving on manpower, they are saving on those hours. So those purpose-driven marketing that we have to save, like zero waste policy, which we are having, each and every part of the potatoes can be used. The peel of the potatoes can also make a briquette, which can fire the boiler. So I am not using the fossil fuel that much. So that briquette fire, we are the only one who are doing that. And we are the first one, and we invested few crore extra for that. So this is how and this entire thing is told as a storytelling on the packaging itself, because packaging for me is a 24-hour silent salesman. It's a 24-hour. Whenever you see the packaging, message coming in. So made responsibly, which we also displayed in Ahar, is very big way on that. So this is something which we are trying to do, and the purpose is that people should get good food, people should get it quickly, farmers should be happy, food wastage should be less. All these things, all these purpose, how can I bring knit or in one campaign and can do that? That is one. Second thing, what is happening here is that when we are telling these things, in the very cohesive manner, people are trying to see that. Today, for an example like Blinkit, we are talking about commerce, I also touch upon a little bit on that. I was talking to, because we started selling containers to Australia, I said, for India, we get in 10 minutes delivery. Well, wow. Fastest delivery in Australia is 2 days. You place the order on e-commerce, any grocery item, 2 days the fastest. Now, I don't know whether we are ahead or they are lagging behind. So this is what is happening. So what is happening on those, the moment if you want to have a French fries, you are just putting a pan on the gas burner, you order it, by the time oil is heating up, fries is delivered at your home. This is what the ecosystem is happening. 10 minutes are old, people are working on 7 minutes now, 7 to 8 minutes. And in Gurgaon, in some areas, people are having an experience 7 to 8 minutes. So 5 minutes also, right? So the moment you are saying, some guests come, because their freezer is jostling for the space. In freezer, you can't keep the frozen food. There's no space at all. So you say, boss, okay, 4 friends are there, or guests have come, you are ordering on Zomato, Swiggy, Blinkit, suddenly it's coming and then done, packet done, done. That's how it is happening. So I'm saving on that frozen part at refrigerator also, and then save energy which will come. Yeah. So everything is quite connected all together in the entire ecosystem. That's it.
Absolutely. Wonderful answer, sir. You've weaved a complete path for us to understand the complete chain. So hedonistic craving to humanistic craving, this the chatbot that you have been using brings me to the point of staying very, very relevant in the current paradigm. So with this, I would also like to understand from Mr. Abhisek that do you think that FMCG companies are required to collaborate with some of the startups for staying relevant in the current times? Do you think that there is a possibility? Do you know certain examples that this has been happening?
Okay, great. So interesting question. Maybe I'll answer. I have an interesting story to answer this. So I'll again answer it in the automotive retail space. So here, 5-6 years back, we are an organization. I come from an organization which is 70 years old. Now there always has been a mindset कि बड़ी कंपनी है तो बड़ी कंपनी के साथ collaborate करेंगे. So that way, 5-6 years back, we had 3 joint ventures, and all 3 joint ventures were with companies which were larger than ours. Okay. And when conversations used to happen, ki how do we collaborate with new organizations? Because if you collaborate, you either will collaborate with someone who has a premium technology which you don't have, premium supply chain, or something innovative in the digital and marketing space. Now, when we started having conversations post-COVID, the conversations started changing. Those conversations now were how to leverage those organizations which are more agile than us. Because larger organizations, it is so difficult to pivot from one strategy to another because it takes a lot of investments, a lot of time and a lot of resources. Now today, 4 years later, we have collaborations with 15 plus companies in which 10 plus companies are smaller in revenue than us. Some are 1/5, 1/6 in size, but extremely good technology and extremely good supply chain strategies. Now what has changed? And this is not only ours, but many large organizations, how they have changed their mindset. So first is understanding what the requirement is. Now let me give you a very specific example which has happened in one of our divisions. When we went from a traditional technology, whenever you go into a vehicle, all the metallic products come from a specific technology called die casting. Okay. Now traditionally, any automotive organization uses 2 technologies from the past, which is called low pressure die casting, gravity die casting. It is normally used in this industry. When the EV vehicles and the new innovative vehicles which is coming up, in Shark Tank India you must have seen so many new EV companies coming up. they use a new technology which is called high pressure die casting. Okay. Now in the India space, there are so many new EV companies have come up, but many companies have also shut down. Okay. Now when we try to collaborate with one, मतलब 3 के साथ collaborate करते थे, 2 बंद हो जाती थी. So there, for us to bring in a new volume for specifically high pressure die casting, it was very, very difficult. Now we have the intent, we have the resources, we want to do it. However, we are not able to do it because of the circumstances. Now, when we reach maybe 2030, 2035, then the scope would have been so wider, it would be easier for us to do it. But then we will be late to the market. Now, in this space, if we collaborate with someone which is a smaller setup, but specializes in high pressure die casting, then that joint venture or a TLA will be much, much better to adapt and will only cater to certain customers which are actually focusing in this space. So this is just a very specific example on, and why I have chosen this example is when we think about technology, we always go to कि कुछ तो electronics होना चाहिए, but it is not so. Each and every product has an innovation in place which is coming as on today, and it is coming into the shed of light. So our thought process have evolved a lot of traditional organizations have also come to this thought process that it is very important to understand our requirement, to bring in organizations, collaborate with startups which are more agile in nature than ours. So that's my perspective.
Absolutely well said, sir. So we've got an overall holistic perspective from this particular panel. I'll pose the last question, and it is open for everyone, any one of you. It's basically a concluding question. Anyone who would like to take this question may take. So I just wanted to understand, rather the students would also like to understand that in this fast-paced landscape, integrating agile practices and ensuring competitiveness, can you give 2 pointers that FMCG companies can use to start or maybe to navigate the future ahead in this particular agile environment?
Yeah, definitely, because now the kind of data analytics which is coming, data annotation is coming, and which becomes a logical platform for the ML and AI. For example, and we are also working on that direction, because right now we are a B2B, but B2B2C will come a few quarters from now. For an example, there is a rain happening, right? Because we know April, May, June for the product. Just give an example of the products of the fries. Nobody would like to have fries much because it's summer, right? What happens towards the end of June or maybe July, because Kerala monsoon hits first and then it comes to all over India. Rain happened, but it's very unpredictable also. Rain is also very unpredictable nowadays. Suppose it happened in May, and our entire channel is not that much ready to cater to the demand which will suddenly spurge demand, because Delhi and NCR and entire pan-India will come. Now we have already connecting that data to the weather forecasting, the predictive analysis which is coming, when the monsoon is going to come in, right? And then that is connected to a rain. After 5 days going to rain. The entire supply chain is beefed up. You know, the product has already been shifted to the depots, to the customers, to the QSRs, because there will be queue at the QSRs also. With the rainy season, people like to go more for fries, pakoras and all, right? And the French fries comes along with that. So they, with the, how many users are using it, they're actually placing the order on e-commerce, the quick commerce, they will also be geared up to have, because they have their own dark stores and all, right? They will be geared up and the entire thing will be smoothened. Otherwise, we will not be able to cater to the demand. So this predictive analysis and the FMCG is actually playing a big role, especially the kind of innovations we are having in India, quick commerce. How do they know that you are already forgetting our very special thing, which is a nail cutter? So I was speaking to, few of the Q-commerce hats, saying, boss, we are keeping, what people are forgetting often when they are going to travel, nail cutter. They have actually beeped up and all dark stores and everything is there. Same thing when the rain is happening, if 10 days before we know or 5 days before we know, the moment, because your mobile is also tracking that, we are tracking your mobile. And then the data is getting relayed there, because this person is there and now rain is going to come, he will order the fries, now let's have entire supply chain for that. So this predictive AI, ML and this data annotation is actually becoming in that sense. Right?
So a clear view on कि Zomato में जो शाम को ऐड आती है कि चाय के साथ पकौड़े होने चाहिए वो कैसे आती है. So very relevant input, sir. With this, we'll be closing this particular session. It was a wonderful discussion where Prabhat sir told us about how sustainability is ongoing. Then I'm yet to speak. Then Anurag sir gave us a complete input that how his company has been working very well on sustainability and how a person can really track the farmer who has made the French fries that are there on your plate. To Mr. Ishan, who has given a very wonderful international perspective on how FMCG supply chain per se is really working for VRB Foods and the whole sector as well. Then Mr. Abhisek giving us an overall review upon how companies like Spark Minda are working on maintaining consumer trust and how FMCG can also do that. Mr. Prabhjot adding on to how retail is there and is going to stay a long time no matter what e-commerce or quick commerce is doing. And then Mr. Vishwanath giving us a holistic viewpoint over Patanjali. So I really thank you all for this very well-versed discussion. I believe now students you can give a huge round of applause. And if you want, we can take just one question if any student has any question for the panelist. All right, no much hands. So we would be closing the session. Okay, we have one hand, one particular hand. We would just entertain one question. You can ask if there is a mic. No mic? Okay. All right, you'll quickly ask the question. We have the mic here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself Prashant Singh, and my question is to Abhisek sir. Sir, what role does the metaverse or AR/VR play in shaping the future for consumer engagement strategy, especially in automotive sector?
Wonderful. A very interesting question.
Yes.
I think this is one space which is very untouched so far. And in the coming future, so we talked about the employee experience, the customer experience, right? So when you go in, so whenever you go for buying a car,
Yes.
तो आप कभी ऑनलाइन शॉप करके खरीद लेते हो नहीं ना. What do you require is you have to go to the showroom and you have to see the car. आप बैठ के देखोगे कैसा comfort है नहीं है. I think a lot of it depends on the visualization. The way you experience that entire process. आपके family के लिए एक different experience है कि पहली बार कार ले रहे हैं. So in that entire piece, if the AI and the VR space comes into the picture, 40 to 50% of that experience can be captured in the comfort of your home.
Yes.
So that is the main area where now automotive space have to come in to give a better experience to the consumer. Ultimately, the decision will happen after going to the showroom, but the initial attraction which has to happen, that can be a differentiating factor for a lot of OEMs which are out there. Very good question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for the answer.
I'll just add on that. I'll just add a point, and just just go to MG's site. They have started applying this thing, so you can have a 360 view of the car inside out and everything before going to the showroom. So they are trying to do that since it's a Chinese company. So they are trying to adapt it over here. Obviously, they will do it here.
All right, great. With this, I request Professor Dr. Devendra Narang to felicitate our panelists, and we thank them for this wonderful discussion. First of all, Mr. Prabhat Meni Pandey. Prabhat, sir. Mr. Prabhat Meni Pandey. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Vishwanath Kumar Jha. Mr. Anurag Jain. Mr. Thank you so much. Mr. Ishan Girdhar. You can get it. The answer. Huge round of applause. Mr. Abhisek Sarangi. And Mr. Prabhjot Singh. Thank you so much, sir, for coming in for the day and for sparing your time for the wonderful discussion that we have had. I thank all the panelists. Thank you so much.